Good morning, everybody. If you're new here, you are very welcome. If you are a returning viewer, many thanks for your continued support. So, question popped up on one of the many Facebook groups that I'm in. How do you use a DXF file? The poster was struggling to get a house plan that his daughter had drawn in a program called AutoCAD. Now, AutoCAD are one of the many CAD programs that can be used. There are some free ones, but they had exported their file into a DXF format. And that is like a universal format that 99% of CAD programs can open, and then the user can manipulate them without actually having AutoCAD. So he was using LaserGRBL. Now, from my research, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you cannot import directly a DXF file into LaserGRBL. That's the research I've done. I've tried to do it here this morning on my laptop, and there's no menu drop-down box in LaserGRBL to allow me to do that. Here we are. Now, apologies, I have not used GRBL. I'm used to LightBurn. I've had a look at this a few times, and I just like the way my workflow is, and I was happy to pay $99 for LightBurn. So if you go to File, Open, you can't sort of import, so you only get a chance to open the files. And I've looked through all the menus. Now, if there's any LaserGRBL experts watching this video, please tell me if there's a way to do this. So I go File, Open, and if you look at the file formats that it's giving you here, so NC, CNC, TAP, G code, NGC, so they're, I think, all sort of G code files. And you got bitmaps there, images, bitmaps, PNG, JPEG, different JPEG, GIF, SVG. Now that's what a lot of images would be brought in SVG, because they're sort of vector based images. LSP, I don't know what that is. So, and then that just breaks it down. So there's no DXF listed here. So that's the problem that the guy was having to try and burn his daughter's house. So I'm going to show him, or you even, how you do it in LightBurn. And I've drawn a very, very complicated house, so please bear with me, but I promise you'll be able to follow along. So I'm going to open the DXF file. No, I'm not going to open it. You have to import it. You would open a LightBurn file, but you have to import a different file from it. So we're going to say import here. Click on import, and you can see, look, that's giving it away, isn't it? The complexity of my house. So that's what we're going to import. So I'm going to click on the DXF file that I've generated, and you can see it's come in. Now, the problems with this very simple design is I drew this all on one layer in my CAD program. So all these elements are also on one layer. Now, I would hope the OP who was looking at this, his daughter draws different elements on different layers. That way, I believe, if you assign colors to your layer, everything then would come on a different layer, and you would see them over here, different layers. But we can sort of do that here, but I'm going to show you some of the difficulties you would have. So I'm going to click on this, and you can see it's grouped. So we're going to come up here and press this little person to ungroup. And now if you click, you can see the lines that are joined together form a group. So this outer perimeter is a group. If I click on that line, I drew in my CAD program that line separately to the center lines here. But because they're touching, they've now joined. So the only way that I'm going to know how to get rid of those, because they're sort of in the way, is if I click them and press delete, the whole thing will go. So I'm going to do Control Z and it will come back. So I want to keep this gutter line here. So I'm going to use the trim tool, scissors. But the trouble with the scissor tool is, it's going to work, is you can see it's because they're all joined, you can't just get rid of one diagonal. So you'd have to come here to the node tool, click on that, and you can see that the dashed dot lines are here. So I'm going to click on that dot there, and hopefully going to press the B key. Come down here, click on that, press the B key. Now let's just see whether that's working. Come out of that. Now let's see if I can click on that only. You can now see only that line is got the marching ants. You can see that the line's moving because I've broken that line away from the other. So now I can press the delete key and it's gone. Now let me see if I click on that one, select all, click on this one. You can see this line is still joined with the gutter line. So again, select all, node tool, click on the line you want to deal with, click on the dot you want to break. So left clicking on that, B to break. Click on that, B to break, select all, click off, click on the one I wanted to delete, press delete and it's gone. Now hopefully, I'm just using my middle mouse wheel here to scroll in and out and to zoom around, scroll around. I'm pressing the wheel, holding it down, and I'm dragging the screen. So I'm still in the select tool, so I can press now. Now you can see now the center line, because it's still joined here. I need to break that as well. So I'm going to go back to node editing, click on the line that I want, click on that one. If I had drawn this correctly in AutoCAD, I can now click on, click off, click back on that, click back on that one, and you can see that line's now separate. Press the delete key. So if you start with a good drawing, you're going to save a lot of work in where I can't remember what we're in. You're going to save a lot of time in LightBurn. So now let's see what's joined. So we've got the outline, which is joined. That's okay. Gutter line is separate. The windows should be separate entities. Yes, because they're not touching anything else. So just for argument's sake, you know, you could burn that. You could put that on a layer, adjust your powers and speeds here, and you could burn that. Well, you could burn lines to mark it. Then say if you wanted to cut the house out. So you've sent that to the laser. The laser's scorched the line on your paper or cardboard or whatever material you're using. But now you want to cut it out. Now, because we're lucky enough here, this outline is its separate layer. What we can do is we can Control D on the keyboard. So that's duplicated the layer, and I'm going to select the red layer. And you can see a red layer has popped up here. And you can just see we've got a red line there. So let me now turn off this top layer here. You can now see I've got an outline. And that outline is directly on top of the black line. Now, if you had scorched that black line and you want to keep it scorched, then you could, if you wanted to, you could offset this. If you click that again, because it's all one line, you could come over here to offset tool. And let's do, what scale am I? Let's do 5 mils so you can see it. And you can see there, which will probably be too big for what this guy wants to use. It's offset the outline 5 mil. If we look back here, 5 mil outwards. You can do inward, you can do both, you can change the style of the corners, and you can also, if you turn this button on, select delete original object. So that would delete the scorch line you've already got. Now remember, we're looking at the red layer, so we've already got that scorch line still on the black layer. So that may work. So let me say delete original. And now we're turned back on the output of the black layer, which I'm saying in this example, we scorched the line. So you can see that the order of the layers depicts the order the laser is going to do the job. So you can see here we've got a fast speed value and a power, and the cutting layer we've got a slower power, a slower speed, and a higher power. So what will happen if we preview this is if we say play and slow that down a little bit so you can see it. Let's go to it and play. You can see it's scorching all the lines, and then it's going to do the outline, and that's going to cut the house out. Now, that house, you would have the scorched lines, then 5 mil away from that, you would have the cut line. Now, if you wanted it closer, we could have offset that line, say 0.1 mil away from that line. It would have cut it out, and you would have still had the scorched line as well. Okay, so that's one thing you can do to get your DXF file cut out. Now, let's say we want some engraving, some shading. So now we know the windows are separate. So if we put them on, say, a blue layer, and I use a blue layer for my engravings, and you can see this layer is set to fill, and you can see it's got a fast speed of 4,000 and a lower power of 20. So you'd have to do some material testing on your materials to find out how dark these speeds and powers are going to come out. So we could click also on that window. I'm now holding the shift key down. That one. I can click on the door because that should be a rectangle in itself. Yes, it is. Click on the blue layer. So now we've got a house. So what would happen is, what we want to do, this is now incorrect. Because we've been juggling layers, we now need to reorder these layers to get the laser to perform its task in the way we want it. So ways you can move this is you can click on the layer and click up, and you can see now the fill layer is on the top. So the laser will engrave this. It will then burn a line. All the black lines will be burned, so you'll end up with a brownish line on your paper. And then the laser will slow down, ramp up the power, and do a 5 mil offset all the way around. So if we just preview that and play, there you go. The laser is going backwards and forwards. It will engrave everything. Let's just knock that up a little bit. Just let that run through. Should do the door next. Then it'll be quickly doing the outline. So a scorched line of the house, and then that is the burn of the actual house. So what will happen is this red line, this profile, if you've got your laser set correctly, that object now will be dropping through the material, and you'll be able to take that out away from your cardboard or paper, whatever you're doing, and you'd have that profile. So that is a very, very quick way of how to get a detailed architectural drawing from a CAD program using the DXF format, import it in LightBurn, and I'm positive if you've drawn your house properly, and I think his daughter is studying at university, so she's obviously going to know how to use AutoCAD. That was a program of choice. There are others available. If you put it on layers, and I'm sure there is like a British standard or a drawing standard that windows, doors, roofs, all the elements that you're building your structural property on go on different layers. So when you export them, one would imagine they will come over here in this box and all be different layers, and that way you can assign different processes to that layer, or you could group them all. So if we go back and we let me say, if you wanted to not have this engraved, you could now drop on this engraving and you could do line, and then it's still on its own layer, so you could change the power and the speed to get a different engraving density, darkness, or perhaps you could click on these. I just do two, and we could then put an offset in them. So let's say on this want 2mm. Oh, what did I do there? Because I deleted. Right, I made a mistake there. This rectangle, this window is now bigger than that because if I go back, you can see it shrunk, and that was because LightBurn remembers the last command you had, and it said delete original. Now I don't want to do that. I want the original to stay there. So we leave that there. The windows now are here. So if we change this layer back to fill, what I'm hoping is, there you go, it fills the window frame rather than the whole glass panel. So you can quickly see the power of the tools you've got available, and YouTube is your friend. You know, I'll drop a video down below of a short video to show you in anyone's channel that you're looking at, there is a magnifying glass. So say you go to my channel, and that's what the video will show you. You go to my channel, and let's say you're looking for, I don't know, 20 watt. You want to find a video about 20 watt. Use the little magnifying glass, click on it, type in 20W or 20 watt, and YouTube will then list all the videos that 20W appears in. And then you can look at the thumbnail. My thumbnails are very basic, but it gives you a very easily readable visual what the video is about. And then you can look down, oh yeah, that's 20 watt, 30 watt, 20 versus 30 watt, power differences, how to clean a 20 watt. So you're not looking through 107 videos, scrolling down the thumbnails, trying to find it. Use the power of search. It'll be your best friend. Also, you can Google it. You know, the LightBurn is a very, very popular program. All the big CO2 users use it. Us diode laser users, we use it. It is, yes, it's paid for, where LaserGRBL is free. I paid, I didn't pay, it's recently gone up, $99. That gives you this program for life. For the first year, you receive updates for it. At the end of your yearly license period, you will no longer receive updates. However, the program will fully work, and that's important. It will fully work. There's no reduction in menus that you can use. It will work how you've been using it for the last year. Now, if they release an update, say they make a different type offset tool or a editing tool, you think, oh, I could really use that function in my work process. You can go back to LightBurn, subscribe for another year of updates, and currently I believe it's $30 for a year of updates. Then every time there's an update for that next year, you can say, yes, I want to receive the update. It will load it in there for you, and you receive the updates, and the process goes on. Anyway, that's Andy. I hope you've enjoyed my very educational, very detailed drawing of a house, how to ship in a DXF file into LightBurn, how you can manipulate it. And if you haven't drawn it correctly, like I showed you, how you can manipulate some of the lines to tidy your drawing up. And this one here, very simple to make it look like a window rather than you got the curtain shut. So now that we've got the LightBurn project here, what we can do, we can save the file. So you click the save icon. So you click the save icon. If you haven't saved it before, it will take you to wherever you save your documents, and it would save. If I do like a file save as, it will take me to where I saved it. So I've already saved it. So you've got this now in LightBurn. So if I now close this file, if I do new, I do new to get rid of it, so it's gone. So if you've opened LightBurn, and I've turned off the background squares, so if I went into settings here and I did grids and units, and I've turned the contrast grid off, if I turn that back on, you'll see them again. And I turn that off because I've now taken a screenshot to use that as part of my thumbnail, and it looks better. So now, because we've saved that file, we can go file, and this time we go open, because we're opening the LightBurn file. Before we had to import the DXF file. If we go open, you would find where you've saved it. You would click on that, open, and there you are. Your house is back in all its detail, and then you've still got the layers here. So that's it. I forgot to add that in, so I hope that was beneficial to you. That's Andy, as ever, wishing you a great afternoon. Continue to make that happy, safe smoke, and perhaps you'll join me in my next video. Cheers for now.